Hello everyone, welcome to 10-Minute Physiology. In today's video, we're going to talk about how sodium chloride is reabsorbed in the distal convoluted tubule. So with that, let's give it a go. So before we talk about how sodium chloride is reabsorbed in the distal convoluted tubule, let's describe the diagram that we're going to be using in this video. So the first part of our diagram are going to be the epithelial cells that make up the nephron. So the nephron lining is going to be made up of epithelial cells. And these epithelial cells basically divide two compartments. The first compartment is the tubule lumen, which is inside the nephron. And then the second is going to be the interstitial space, which is outside the nephron. We also have two main sides for the plasma membrane. The side that faces the tubule lumen is called the apical membrane, and the side that faces the interstitial space is the basolateral membrane. So now that we know how this diagram looks, let's talk about how sodium chloride is reabsorbed in the distal convoluted tubule. So the first thing to note is that there are two main segments of the distal convoluted tubule. The first is the classical or early distal convoluted tubule. So let's talk about how sodium chloride is reabsorbed in this region of the distal convoluted tubule. So in the classical or early distal convoluted tubule, we have the sodium-potassium pump on the basolateral membrane. This pump pumps 3 sodiums out and 2 potassiums into the cell. And it does this by using the energy released by hydrolyzing ATP. So this sodium-potassium pump is going to establish electrochemical gradients for both sodium and potassium. And the first transporter on the apical membrane that we're going to talk about is going to be the sodium chloride cotransporter. So what this transporter does is it uses the energy released by moving sodium down its electrochemical gradient to transport chloride, so it cotransports both sodium and chloride into the cell. In addition to this transporter, we need to also have some transporters or channels on the basolateral membrane that move chloride and sodium into the interstitial space from the inside of the cell. So on the basolateral membrane, we also have a potassium channel. So the potassium channel is going to allow potassium to move from the inside of the cell to the interstitial space. And what this helps to do is it helps to keep the sodium-potassium pump active. It helps to recycle potassium, so it keeps this pump working. In addition, on the basolateral membrane, we also have the potassium chloride cotransporter. This uses the energy released from moving potassium down its electrochemical gradient to move chloride into the interstitial space. So you have this cotransporter that moves potassium and chloride into the interstitial space. Now, in addition, we also have some chloride channels, which allow chloride to move into the interstitial space as well. Now, in addition to these transcellular mechanisms, we also have a slight paracellular mechanism. So it's important to note that the voltage in the early distal convoluted tubule is going to be around 0 millivolts. But even though it's 0 millivolts, we do have a small amount of paracellular movement of chloride into the interstitial space. So there is some paracellular reabsorption that takes place for chloride in the early distal convoluted tubule. So now that we know how the early distal convoluted tubule looks, let's look at the late distal convoluted tubule. Now, a lot of the mechanisms that the early distal convoluted tubule uses, the late distal convoluted tubule uses as well, which is why we have pretty much the same picture here. We have the sodium chloride cotransporter protein moving sodium and chloride into the cell. We have sodium being moved out of the cell into the interstitial space via the sodium-potassium pump. And then chloride goes into the interstitial space through the potassium chloride cotransporter and the chloride channels. Now, what differentiates the late distal convoluted tubule from the early distal convoluted tubule is the presence of epithelial sodium channels, or ENaC channels, on the apical membrane. These channels allow sodium to flow from the tubule lumen into the cell. So that is one of the main differences. Another main difference is the voltage. In the late distal convoluted tubule, the voltage is very negative. It's around negative 30 millivolts. So this will basically cause a large amount of paracellular movement of chloride across the cell. There's a lot more paracellular movement of chloride across the cell in the late distal convoluted tubule than there is in the early distal convoluted tubule because of this negative voltage. So that's it for this video. I hope this video helped you understand how sodium chloride is reabsorbed in the distal convoluted tubule, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.